China's electric car revolution isn't coming. It's already here, and it's eating Tesla alive. The so-called future of cars that Elon Musk promised is now being built in China, not California, not Germany, and most definitely not India. While Tesla tweets and recalls cars for their steering wheels falling off, Chinese companies like BYD, Geely, Chery, and NIO are quietly, or not so quietly, dominating every corner of the global electric vehicle market. And the best part? They're doing it faster, cheaper, and better. Let's get one thing straight. China didn't just wake up one morning and decide, hey, let's take over the car industry. No, this story goes back decades, all the way to the 1980s, when Deng Xiaoping, the guy who opened China to the world, visited Japan. He toured their assembly lines, watched those efficient robots and workers putting cars together like clockwork and thought, we can do that, but better. That single trip planted a seed that would grow into one of the most powerful industrial transformations in history. At the time, Japan was the global king of cars. Toyota, Honda, Nissan, you name it, they ruled the roads. But fast forward 40 years, and Japan's crown has quietly slipped onto China's head. Back then, China didn't even have its own car industry worth mentioning. Roads were filled with bicycles, rickshaws, and the occasional Soviet-looking truck. But Deng had a vision. If China was going to rise, it couldn't just assemble other people's products. It had to make them, own them, and eventually lead them. That philosophy became the foundation of everything that followed: massive investment, long-term planning, and laser-focused industrial policy. And oh boy, did that pay off. Today, companies like BYD, which stands for Build Your Dreams, are not only building their dreams, they're exporting them to everyone else's driveway. Meanwhile, the US dreams about building better cars, and India dreams about being able to build anything, yet their own toilet system is a mess. BYD has already overtaken Tesla as the world's largest EV maker in terms of sales. Think about that. The American icon of electric cars, beaten by a company that many in the West didn't even know existed 5 years ago. And they didn't do it with flashy tweets or gimmicks. They did it by building cars people actually want to buy. Affordable, reliable, and packed with the kind of tech that puts most Western automakers to shame. BYD isn't alone. There's Wuling, whose tiny EVs are so popular in China that they outsell Teslas by miles. There's NIO, known for its battery swap technology that lets you change your car's battery in 5 minutes instead of waiting half an hour to charge. XPeng is creating cars with autonomous driving capabilities that rival and sometimes outperform Tesla's. And Geely, the company that now owns Volvo, has turned that brand into a global electric success story. Chery, meanwhile, has quietly built a reputation for exporting dependable and stylish EVs to markets all over the world, from Latin America to Europe. The Western narrative often likes to pretend that China just copies ideas. But the truth is, the student has become the master. China doesn't just copy, it improves, scales, and then dominates. That's exactly what happened in the EV industry. While Western automakers were busy protecting their legacy models and charging $80,000 for electric SUVs, China was building an entire ecosystem, from battery production to raw material refining, right at home. Let's put that into perspective. Over 70% of the world's lithium-ion batteries are made in China. 70%. The entire world's EV dreams literally run on Chinese power cells. Companies like CATL and BYD are setting the pace for energy density, battery life, and safety, while Western firms are still writing feasibility studies and begging for government subsidies. And the result? Chinese EVs are everywhere. Europe, Southeast Asia, South America, even in Australia, people are trading in their petrol cars for sleek, smart, and surprisingly affordable Chinese EVs. And when people realize they can get a reliable electric SUV for half the price of a Tesla, with none of the software update just disabled your steering nonsense, well, it's not a hard choice. It's also about trust. Tesla has become infamous for issues like autopilot crashes, random braking, fires, and even doors that refuse to open when the car's battery dies. Meanwhile, Chinese cars have quietly earned a reputation for being sturdy, simple, and efficient. It's like comparing a flashy influencer who keeps getting into scandals with a hard-working engineer who just gets the job done. Now, you might be wondering, how did China pull this off so fast? How did a country that was importing bicycles in the 1980s end up exporting electric cars to the world in the 2020s? The answer is a mix of vision, discipline, and sheer execution power. The Chinese government didn't just talk about supporting green energy, they made it a national mission. They poured billions into EV infrastructure, built entire cities around electric mobility, and created incentives for both companies and consumers to go electric. While Western countries were debating carbon targets and regulations, China was out there laying charging stations in every major city and subsidizing EV production at scale. This wasn't random spending, it was organized ambition. Every part of the EV supply chain, from mining lithium and cobalt to manufacturing semiconductors and batteries, was brought under China's control. It's industrial strategy on steroids, and it works. The country can produce an EV from raw material to finished product all within its borders. That kind of vertical integration is why China can build cars faster and sell them cheaper than anyone else. It's not just government support, it's a mindset. Chinese firms think in decades, not quarters. They invest in R&D and take risks. BYD, for example, started with phone batteries in the 1990s. Now, it's a global EV leader. Meanwhile, the US EV industry is tangled in politics, and Europe faces high costs and bureaucracy. India is still figuring out the basics. China builds new industries in a decade. The West spent years outsourcing to China, but now China's exporting finished products that beat Western brands. Chinese EVs aren't just cheap, they're becoming symbols of progress. When countries like Thailand or Brazil import Chinese EVs, they're saying, "We want what works." And right now, what works comes with a Made in China badge. In many ways, this is China's revenge arc. The same nation that once built cars under foreign license is now writing the playbook for the future of mobility. And the rest of the world is catching up, or at least trying to. Even Tesla, the so-called global pioneer, is increasingly dependent on China. Its gigafactory in Shanghai produces the majority of its cars and generates the most revenue. Elon Musk knows it. Without China, Tesla wouldn't survive. It's ironic, isn't it? The company that inspired China's EV wave is now relying on it to stay alive. The rise of China's EV industry isn't just about cars. It's about a shift in global power. It shows that innovation doesn't belong to Silicon Valley anymore. It belongs to whoever has the discipline, vision, and infrastructure to make ideas real. And right now, that's China. From Deng Xiaoping's humble visit to a Japanese factory to today's electric SUVs that can cross the Yangtze River, this journey represents something much bigger than cars. It's the story of how a nation transformed from a workshop for the world into the workshop of the future. And if that doesn't make you rethink who's leading the charge, literally, then maybe it's time to check your rearview mirror. Because the future isn't just coming from China, it's already overtaken you.